Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. Thank you for your patience as we go a lot live late today. There's now an official USCCB webinar where I get to tell people to go play Clair Obscure Expedition 33. So that's fun. I'm super proud of that. But anyway, it's good to see you, Brayherd. Good to see you, Break. Good to see you, Beer Fox. Good to see you, Stella. Good to see you, Bacon. Good to see you, Trilly. And I hope everyone's having a good day. And congratulations, Brayherd. You have won the crown of Firstendom, the crown of reflective lights to power the lighthouse. It's a very shiny crown. And Ben Roxy. Y'all need anything from the store? You go to the soup store? New soup drop? Toured. Also, Pure Fox, I actually very explicitly have Ron Galinas. I have that whole playlist turned off when it comes to my Spotify recommend because I don't need that messing with my all the other weirdness that's already on there. Also, I only listen to him for 30-ish minutes a week plus, so 2.5 hours roughly. So I don't know, I listen to other stuff more. But anyway, hey KMX. Motivation. No, I don't think they have that at the soup store. Oh yeah, no, Spotify's apparently down. But I got it working long enough for the intro. Anyway, let's go be a lighthouse. I am a lighthouse, warned by the weather and the waves. I keep my lamp lit. Be doing pretty good. I just had an interview with Paul Jarzembowski, director of the Office of Laity, Family Life, and something else. Youth, young adult. His office at the USCCB has a very long name. We got tech all about young adult ministry in a box. Very trippy. Yeah, this game has great visuals. Whee! Oh no. My magic cotton candy got too wet and cannot fly. Okay, I think that's where I'm trying to get to. So yeah, last time we animated as a lighthouse, and a bird came along. It turns out the bird's name is Twig. Twig is a good burb. You're from home. Hey, there you go. We love it and hate it. Well, lean into the love portion of it. Hard to stay motivated. Yeah. 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 You don't do it often. Yeah, mood. Me on days when no one else is in the office and Father Dave's out of town. Huh. I could work on that project, but I have lots of time. I also have video games. Hey, no, questions are great. Oh, I don't think I can make that jump. Oh, they were just balls I was supposed to break. Hey, Void. The lighting looks so good. Which I guess if you're going to make a game about an animated lighthouse, you should make the lighting look good. Yeah, Greg. Survival clearly the structure visual leadership. Ah, no, good question. So it kind of depends on what you define, I guess. Church, what in church leadership, vis-a-vis ordination. There is room to talk about women in the diaconate, as that title does get applied to some women, and that's something that scholars are far better at discussing than I am, I will admit. But when it comes to general leadership, there are some lines of Paul, but how much of that is Paul speaking to a particular community in a particular time versus a universal for the church to hold to? And so that's a matter of discussion and debate. I am in favor of that there should absolutely be women in appropriate leadership. And we're seeing that actually in the Vatican with Sister... Oh, shoot. I can't remember her name. But she's like the highest ranking woman ever in the Vatican. She's like Secretary of State. Oh, my clouds are gone. You know, and ultimately, we are all members of the body of Christ, and as Paul talks about, all the parts are needed for the body, so there are absolutely need to be ways for men and women to both have their voice heard and shared, so... Yeah, the graphics of this game are great. It's a very nice art piece. I think they were wise to really lean in on the stylized nature of it. Creepy tentacles, go away. Stupid treaty. Yes. There's another woman who's very high up in the Vatican. Her name has an X in it, I think. There you go. Beer Fox has a very good answer. A better answer than mine, I dare say. Great women's Saints, yep. Oh, more in terms of ordained ministry. Yeah, so in terms of ordained ministry, and this is church teaching, that priesthood and the episcopacy are reserved for men, but we'd be fools to say that church leadership starts and stops with ordained roles. They are important and critical in leadership, but Gale with the 3 streak. Just an itty bitty. Nah, you're all good. But there's like a... It may have finished, but there was like a commission on studying the history of women in diaconate at the Vatican. I think they came up kind of inconclusive. No, not Twig's egg! Okay, good. Oh. Twig is a good bird. Twig is not the bright... Oh no, my legs! This is not exactly void. Well, and I think there's different kinds of leadership as well. Okay, so Twig's child should be born by now, and an adult. No, you're all good. Truly, questions are great. That's how we learn. Flop. Hold on. I need the screenshot of it saying flop. Yeah. St. Catherine of Siena. Well, not only wrote a letter, I think she went to him in Avignon and basically grabbed him by the ear and said, "You're going back to Rome and you're going to like it." But I had to get the screenshot of A to flop. And Boat House? And Boat Fish House. I did not see this twist coming. You know, I've adapted to this new way of life pretty well, actually. Fresh fish! Fish! Today's fish is trout a la creme. Fish! Today's fish is trout a la creme. Fish! Today's fish is trout a la... A joke for K-Max and Step Zero and Kit. You know, it's very peaceful after the apocalypse here. Pray, hope, don't worry. It's a good one. I like, just speaking of POs, Pius the Ninth, because in Italian it's Pio Nono. And so he got, and he had a knack, shall we say, for saying no to things. So he got really, or it's Pio None or something like that. Anyway, he got known as Pio Nono, which just makes me laugh. Hey, Mithril. Huh. There are laser cacti. This boat has some interesting controls. Like, I don't know any other boat that can move sideways like that. But then again, I am a sentient lighthouse who has become a boat. How many boats are fish? A lot of boats are fish. Not all boats are fish, but all fish are boats. How many boats are bit? What? Fair enough, Autobot. What did you type? The boat was promised to move like that 3,000 years ago. I'm gonna blame Aya Nasir again. It's not his fault, I just said I'm blaming him. Quick! Quick! Yes, I am aware. That's why I stopped reading that sentence. However, mod to make petty arbitrary judgments. Yeah, it's fine. It's fun being mod. Look! Twig has a child! It's got a huge beak. Oh, it flies all awkward. It has eyes that are giving no thoughts. Well, they also have like twigs coming out of their wings. No thoughts, only sail. Sail! This is one of those giant... This is a giant turtle of some sort. It looks so cool. Like, look at the shells. They're like houses. Your cat's name is Banter? That's amazing. And now we're an underwater boat. If only they had a word for that. Why do they have shrimp legs? Shrimp is bugs. Turtle is bug. Okay, so that just happened. Right, we're trying to make it to the mountain that looks suspiciously like the one in Cana. Oh. Hey, that's mitosis. Mitosis, the Moses supposes. Well, that just occurred. Breath of the Lighthouse. Emote at them, Twig. Tell them we're friendly. No, stop doing Fortnite dances. Wrong kind of emote. Emote, you say? Let's see. I have a button I can... What do you weird things want? Okay, thank you for the lurk, Bacon. Oh! I'm supposed to ferry someone. Well, you tried, and that's the important part. But you also failed, and that is going to make it difficult for us. Or Twig is just gonna be really strong. Twig and Child got this. You tried and failed. The lesson here, never try. Some would say you were enlightening them. Well, one of the reasons I wanted to play this game is the tagline is, bring light to the world. You can't really see what's... Okay, now you can see it. That thing was... Are we sure Tim Schafer didn't work on this? Got iced coffee, almost the same. It's liquid motivation. Is alcohol coffee? It's liquid motivation. Alcohol's a depressant. It'll make you sleepy in the end. So, anyway. He says as he yawns, having had neither. Liquid courage, yes, but... Yeah, I see you, but... I don't know how to get closer to... Ah, there we go. Inhibition and motivation are not the same thing. But they are related. Okay, one more little squiggly thing to find. Have you seen a squiggly thing? Let's talk about let us leave this place. Just a silly location. I keep rotating my light thinking it's going to rotate the camera. Huh. Why does it have hands? Is this block of coral about to yeet me? Why does the light have tentacles? Why am I asking questions? I'm no longer allowed to dock there, so it's not just take the light back. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm so full of yawns today. Oh, I know. I had the early mass. There are lots of places where it looks like I could place an orb. But I'm not getting the prompts to send Twig to go place the orb. So... It's a spooky face! And the game really wanted to draw my attention to it for some reason. Twig, do you have any insights? Metal boobs. Is that a suggestion, or are you just commenting? Aha! Okay, that was glowing, which is why I was like, that's not the place I need to take this. Hello. That's, That's a different design for a lighthouse. This has Rime vibes. Yeah. I can see that. It's kind of like Rime vibes, but like with less... I mean, not no sadness, but I'd say less sadness. But it very much is the same kind of go to a place, solve a puzzle, check out some cool vignettes. What you looking at, giant underwater, now above water lighthouse? You gonna fire a laser for me? Oh, waterfall. Like, how do I fill this with water? With which to bathe this person? Crab. Shoop and or the whoop? I don't know what that accomplished. Except getting me this little follower thing. Is this your mother? You know, Austin Powers is a cultural touchstone that I have never seen. Lamp. Wait a minute, are we just moths? We're collecting lamps. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a Bond purist. I've seen clips, but I've never, like, seen one of the movies from start to finish. Hello, other little friends. Look, I don't know what you guys want. I'm happy to be here for you, but like... That's what you grew up into, so why don't you just go hang out with one of them? Look, we're friendly. Or, okay. Thank you. The mother lighthouse protects it. The young with the laser. It wards off the predators of darkness. When did I get a fourth one? Oh, that's not right. That was unsettling. Werner Herzog narrates and plays David Attenborough. They're both great narrators. That's just, I can do the Werner Herzog better than I can do with David Attenborough. Here we see the twig. It pulls and it pulls, but it knows not why. Eventually, it has freed the orb of light, and the lighthouse boat. It will use the light. Instead of Nat Geo, you want Nihilist Geo. In this strata, we see the growth of microbes several million years old, and they have all gone extinct just as we will. Here we run foghorn noises. Burkadoo! Nope, hold on. Come on. Sometimes find Liturgy of the Hours to be difficult to enjoy get into. Some days look forward to it, others do it begrudgingly. Have you noticed any rhythm make more appealing? Yeah, and I mean, if it's not, it sometimes, you know, prayer is not always something we do because it's fun. You know, I think the Book of Lamentations is proof of that. And so I think it's important to pay attention to what you're feeling and honor it and bring it to God in its own way. You know, if you do want to make it more enjoyable, find a rhythm that works well for you, be that chanting or spoken. One thing that's always brought a smile to my face is, I think it's Monday, week 4 morning prayer. It has the line, "The Lord flashes flames of fire." And in a house I was in, it was just 3 of us. And it was almost always one guy on that side for that one line. And he would do it very dramatically. "The Lord's voice flashes flames of fire." You know, not over the top or anything, but he'd get into it. It was actually kind of nice. And so anytime I see that, I think of him. And so that's a positive association. Oh, you tried to sing the canticles? Nice. You know, maybe doing it. There are recordings of people chanting, people speaking it. That might help too. Not, you know, don't turn into a replacement of like, oh, I'll put this on and I can do something else while it's happening. It's like, well, that's not quite how it works. These barrels look explosive with their red dot on them. Okay, well, let us back up. Let's see what we can find. Sing the Hours on YouTube. Oh, that's cool. No, I think Liturgy of the Hours is a great thing for anyone to pray. But, you know, not everyone has to. I have to. Quite literally, that's one of the promises of being a priest and a religious. Yeah, starting slowly. If you're just starting out, which I'm going to guess Brit is not, but if you are just starting out, don't try and do all the hours at once. Sometimes, yeah, and that's life, really. I wish I had a better response, but oh, I'm back to being a lighthouse again. Well, that's a joke that's used. It's not a. Don't actually do that. Don't put a guy on blast when he's, you know, dead. Or there's the joke of, oh no, he died. Quick, make sure the ribbons are in the right place for others to see. Well, I live here now. Man, this lighthouse sim is so accurate. Ow! What shocked me? Why is there... What? No. No, no, no. Who said there was a tower defense section in this game? I think I'm supposed to fail this, because my light keeps going out. And there are more of them now. No. Well, he has other gifts that he brings to the church, I'm sure. No, the darkness. Oh, the physical book has helped. That's awesome. That's good. I'm back to being a boat. Fish. Lighthouse. Is this just all gonna be in a dream at the end? PS2 like is mostly tower defense. Wait, is it tower defense like this? It's a lightfish boathouse. What even is this game? Yes. It's a walking sim, he says as he's swimming / boating. I don't know what it's a metaphor for, but I feel like it is a metaphor. That fish represents hubris. or something. Sir, I think you have something in your eye. Oh, never mind. You don't have an eye. Child, help! This game is an experience. Don't have quite enough light power to activate that one. You know what this reminds me of? Is things like Otherworld and Meow Wolf. You know, surrealist art installations. Like, especially reminds me of the original Otherworld, just given the built-in narrative of that place. Oh, hello. Nope. I thought I could break through that. That was uncomfortable. Yeah, Meow Wolf wasn't a fever dream? No, it's actually quite a successful company. I have only been to the Convergence in Denver. But I do want to go to a couple of their others. I actually really like those kind of places. There's an Otherworld in New Jersey, not that far from me. Or no, it's in Pennsylvania. It's just on like the other side. It's near Philly. I should go there sometime. I haven't been there in a few years. Houston is their family-friendly destination. I mean, Convergence in Denver was perfectly family-friendly. Yes. I don't understand, but I appreciate you. Okay, we need to find the orb. There's the orb. Let go of my orb, please. Now what? Excuse me, where did you darkness come from? Get out of here. Burm, burm. Get out of here, bugs. What do you mean that's not enough? Is this like... Is the laser going in there? Come with me and... No, that's a waterfall. That seems like a bad place to go. Okay, Twig, we need to find the controls. Because there's a thingamajig here. Roadster. How you doing, kid? Yeah, so today's gospel is part of the farewell discourse of John. It's Jesus preparing his disciples for his departure and his ascension. And it says that Jesus says their hearts were full of grief, and I was thinking to myself, it's like, well, yeah, I think I'd be pretty sad if the resurrected Lord was like, I'm leaving. But it got me questioning, how would I say goodbye to Jesus in that case? And knowing that Jesus is with us, but, you know, not in the same perceived presence, if that makes sense. Like, our human perception may not always feel the same. So... I'm glad we found that drifter. Ah, so many bugs. Okay, I don't understand. Oh. I think I understand. So you see the blue here. That's a go fast spot. But we need to raise it, so we need to find one of those drifter buddies. There's one of those drifter buddies. Oh, wow. I did not think my light was going to be strong enough to do that, to be honest. I saw that and I thought, oh, I'm going to need to get a laser on it. Buddy, buddy, I need to move out of the way. Do you want to go eat that kelp? Cool. What am I looking for? That's what I'm looking for. He was on the other side the whole time. Experience to a degree. We'll go to adoration or mess, and you have to go home. Spending minutes. Yeah, exactly. Orb? Let's get rid of dark worms. Oh, we're sending Junior in. I am leading the crab with the power orb by growing the kelp. Not how I expected my Tuesday to go, but, for 2 minutes to social and productivity. Third interview? Well, that's exciting. As in a third round interview or third company interview? Three different positions. Ah, still, interviews are good. Yeah, but spiritual direction is not employment work. Ew. Gross. Just an old house. Possibly your friend's dad. That could be a two-edged sword, to be fair. But you probably know him, so. You don't? Oh. Does he know you know his child? Or are you going to bring that up as a surprise? Oh, yeah, that's how you're talking. Okay. Because I was just thinking, that could be funny to bring up in the interview to be like, oh, by the way, your child says hi. Hey, my dad does this. And you go, oh, wow, can you give me a job? You know what? Probably. Good friend followed through. No, be free, whale, turtle thing. You also have job things happening. Hey, that's good. That's exciting. Ew, there's 3 of them. Eins. Yeah, that's where Sue needs to go. I think I saw the other side of this one. Ooh. What happens if I go in here? Friends are getting married. Hey, congrats to them. It's a great year to turn 40. It's always a great year to turn 40. I don't know what that did. Hey, the first reading. Let's go. Stern as death is love? I know it's not because you already told me, but I actually get to bring that up this weekend. I'm doing the baptism of a couple. They were the first couple I ever presided at a wedding of, and the bride chose "Stern as Death is Love" for the first reading. So I'm absolutely going to bring that fact up. Carol, Dicey's being shown someone new name, some of it has been sticking out for a while, then taking an admin job. There's applying for a job at one of the biggest parishes. As comms person, the priest notorious and hard to work with. Ooh, that's ooh. Well, the Youth Young and Old office sounds exciting. Yeah, look, it's the thing we needed. Ah, the Proverbs 31. Still a good one. Not Corinthians. Yeah. Hello, giant turtle shrimp thing. I don't know if we're trying to help free this thing or if we're trying to destroy it. I guess destroy it. Shai Hulud? Look at them all working together to destroy this Eldritch Abomination. And I'm just sitting there. Oh no, it's walking. Why is it walking? No! This is not okay. And I've been eaten by a shrimp whale. Oh, this looks like that thing from Stranger Things. When it opens its mouth. I didn't really watch Stranger Things, so I don't know what it's called. How tall is this waterfall? Stronger thaw thing. Okay. Oh no. I'm back. This thing is not okay. Oh man. My boat body. What body will I get now? Tree body? My brain is very weird. Yeah, I know. Oh, they're just trying to get me to move. No, Twig, it's not the boat. It's the light that has consciousness. Oh, look at the little boat, the loading thing. I have a tree body problem. Ow. Ow, my face. I'm back at the bottom of the mountain. I'm back where I started. And I'm on fire, and I'm made of wood. This seems like a bad combination. Fire is light. True. I am a fire wheel. Wait, this is just that one Kirby power-up. You know, when I started playing a game about sentient lighthouse, this is not something I anticipated doing. I don't know why. Quite foolish of me, I suppose. Why is that cave door a ventricle? Ah, I must obtain bigger fire. Made of purple. This game is very visually interesting, but I feel like I've lost the plot. Like, quite literally. No, Oh, there we go. Ah, I can't see where I'm trying to go. It's very, biological down here. Okay, so I have to get the fire across somehow. Feeling that's gonna help. There we go. Then I can start lighting all these torches. Natural plumes of natural gas. Like, this feels dangerous. Pinball, you're the ball. Yeah? First person pinball. That would be, oh, that sounds nauseating, actually. Wait a minute. Why does this just suddenly feel like a Metroid level? I can almost make it up there. There we go. I'm at a skate park. I am a flaming wheel. I am a throne. I am an angelic throne all of a sudden, and I'm at a skate park. VR pinball. How to lose your friends in one simple game. This does feel very Prime, though. It does, doesn't it? And I'm not complaining about that. But it does feel like a morph ball. It feels like the developers got to this point and they're like, we want a morph ball in our game. The music is cool. Oh, come on. I have a blue flame. I don't have enough of a blue flame. There's another spot I can ignite. Oh, okay. I see what I'm doing. I need to go this way so I can blow up the thing from the other side so I can get to that. This game is interesting with how it presents its puzzles. I think it's actually very good game design, honestly, with how it's all sort of given to you and you learn it and apply it, and no words are spoken. Ah, now the flower will give fire. I will become the flower. I did not see that. I will be honest, I did not see that transformation coming. Boingy. No. Oh, no, that way is good. Okay. You know, the studio claims they're double fine, but I'm not sure they're regular fine. Someone should go check up on them. Okay. That appears to have opened another way. This is an interesting, like, physical layout. This is a really interesting puzzle to me. And it does expect you to pay a certain amount of attention to what has changed. Zap. Zap to go the bugs in the fire. Okay, so that opens that way back up. So lets me get here quickly. And then, the flowers are opened now. So I can fire my lasers! These make uncomfortable noises. This should be the last one I need to access so that I can activate the ventricle door. Like that. Oh, I never opened that way up. Oh well. this. I'll just go this way instead. See, and that's part of what makes this an interesting puzzle to me, is that there was a whole section that I never went to, and I didn't have to. And I like that in some puzzles. Like, some puzzles, obviously, you do need to go everywhere, but it's nice to have a puzzle where you can finish and go, oh, I didn't have to 100% this area to proceed. I thought I had zapped that. There we go. I'm like, there should be another flame spot around here. In order to proceed. Okay. Hello, chromatic aberration. Visual designer shorthand for we seeing things. This feels like Rayman 3 or Psychonauts. It really does. I did not have this on my animated sentient Lighthouse bingo card. I was a fool. Oh, that's not right. What? It's grown more complex. It's got high heel hands. Okay, this feels like a Metroid boss. Like, this feels like the congratulations, you got the Morph Ball, here's a boss to help you learn the mechanics. Morph Ball and X-ray vision test, yeah. Sup, Twig? Okay, Twig, didn't know you had that power, but glad you're here. As we fight the thing of my nightmares. Rude. Oh, okay. So it forces you to be thrown down there. Running around at the speed of sound. It actually does also feel like a Sonic boss. But Sonic bosses are in 3D tend to be pretty boring because all they know is run fast. And despite all the fire, I emerge unscathed. Hey, look, it's part of my body. Ah, good as new. Where's the rest of my body? That's a piece of the boat. Ah, limbs. Literally. I'm a lighthouse boat centaur with wings. What? Game, respectfully. What? Or am I a dragon? I'm a lighthouse dragon? I feel like this is the end of the game, but I can't tell if this is the end of the game, like, this is it, or the end of the game, like, there's another, like, whole puzzle section based around now being this. You know? I'm enjoying this. I just don't know what it is. I think you're going to damage your anchor dragging it like that. Or we'll just abandon the anchor. It was vestigial anyway. And to think this morning I started as a regular lighthouse, and then I became a boat, and then I became a wheel. It's a wheelie weird day. There's the time dudes I helped. I hear the squawking of many twigs. We have found their sanctum. Now you're flying high as Sauron. Khazad-dûm. Whoa. It is the Ur-twig. Oh, I have become lighthouse version of that. Oh, I'm sad, but you go on. It's where you belong. Oh. Oh. was all sad. I bet there's going to be a joyous reunion before the end, but that is where we are going to leave it for today. I have a Sons of the American Revolution meeting downtown, so I can't stay longer. So that actually seems like a nice place to leave it, though, so we can pick it up next week, probably finish it. So thanks so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with you all today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Join us again tomorrow as we're playing Minecraft, Midweek Minecraft, of course. No stream Thursday. No stream. I will be flying to Ohio for baptism. And then Monday, when we come back, I'll be coming back. I should be back, but maybe I'll be late. I don't know. Keep an eye on the Discord in terms of what might happen. And Tuesday, more of this. So anyway, hope you have a great rest of your day. And let's see thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, given bits, all that good jazz. Thank you for checking out the YouTube and the Discord. Let's see who's live that we can raid into. I'm gonna send you over to Sweets and Cozy. She's playing comfy game Palia. She's a good person. I think I met her through pre-pony. Anyway, raid call is Father Raid. Go give her some love. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless.